chain a little bit easier to land on the J-Team side. I feel like if J-Team can get the ball rolling pre-6 and then move it in a Drake fight, that's probably what's the main idea is going to be for them.
Yeah, that's going to be the big play going forward here. And also worth keeping in mind with PSG, whenever they do get Hanabi on the Gnar, it's a little better than a lot of other players' Gnars. Like, even when this champion was kind of not great, he was still making it work a lot better than anybody else in the league. And Gnar stock definitely rising of late. I think we'll see even more of them on the next patch, 12.14. But it's all situational. It's all going to come down to execution. Who's going to be the hero? Who's going to step up here? PSG are still the #1 team in terms of seeding in the league right now, but they're on shaky foundation. A lot of teams could catch up to them. 12-13 or 12-3, you know, not that stable when Deep Cross is 1 loss behind you, CFO the same, and J-Team with so many games in hand, having been out for week number 5. They have a lot of work to do, but they certainly would start it off here with a bang. They got the win.
It would be really refreshing if we do not have PSG as the first seed going into the postseason. I'm definitely rooting against them because
when would have happened? I'm trying to think back, like the last couple of splits, and it kind of feels like, yeah, they're always the #1 seed. Every split, though, a team gets closer. A team knocks them out to the lower bracket. We saw it happen with CFO in spring, only for them to come back in such a close series. The gap is closing, Clement, at least here in the PCS domestically.
Absolutely, and we're going to be taking a look at the summoner so far. I want to point out, very interesting, Unit Boy has actually gone for the first strike over the Electrocute because of the matchup versus the Galio. He knows he's going to get a lot of free damage, a lot of mileage out of that Keystone Rune here. And also a fun little start here coming in from Bury, as he did drop a ward and then go back for the sweeper. Comes back alone onto this red buff that he should know that is warded.
Yep. It's a nice bit of tech, but he's just going to put, yeah, obviously the ward's down itself. I don't know if he's going to want to sweep it because the information's already gained, right? So
yeah,
see what he can do with all of that as we get underway here. Uniboy up against Gory. This will be curious to see Gory on a champion like Galio. We normally expect the big playmaking potential out of him, and Galio can do, but he's not exactly the assassin type of champion.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see Gory's instincts play out here because he usually is a backline diver, and we also have the J-Team patented level 2 gank invade slash coming in from Kongre. We see this so often for J-Team. Like, if J-Team start on the bottom side, it's almost a sure bet that Kongre is going to try something like this. They also know where the buy is, but we did get pings from PSG and Bury, so I think Bury might be catching him in the act. No! Ooh. He's going to avoid the encounter with Viego, but that's his blue buff.
Yeah, that's going to be gone. If he doesn't sniff that out soon, he's in danger of getting 3 buffed, and not only that, his Grom's getting taken. Enzo roams up as well. Even Lil V was up river. PSG have to know something's up here, and I'm really keen to see if Bury gets the memo. Well, he's going to spot it. There we go. But unfortunately, he's lost out on his buff, and he has a level disadvantage. So now the chase is on. Spectral Maw goes through Bury, down to half health. Going to be forced to use his flash in this case. Says denting blows off, but there it goes. Not a great start for the PSG jungler.
Yeah, beautiful punish from J-Team. They catch sight of Bury early on. They invade with the strong Kalista bottom lane, and this is guaranteed 3 buff here. You know, it could be a situation where we see 3 buff into double scuttle if Kongre does decide to go for it. He's going to go for the top lane, knowing that Bury just based, and he still has that winning mid and winning bot to go for a double scuttle if he so chooses to. Bury's not even going to really try and contest the other scuttle. He's just getting his Krugs to try and get the EXP back.
Yeah, he's going to be set behind for the moment and not going into a dangerous situation. So Kongre gets a lot out of that roam. He has spot lane backing him up, and you know, it's not going to reflect in the gold for a little bit yet, but that makes a huge difference, especially when you're talking about a very ultimate dependent champion like the Vi. You're not going to be able to do nearly as much, and I kind of feel like that gives J-Team the go-ahead to just have free reign on the map in the laning phase.
Absolutely. I would say Vi is definitely one of those champions that feels like she can have very binary results. Either she goes in, gets successful engage, and can continue to contribute, or she just kind of dies right after the season desist. So You know, I think Vi definitely has been a lot more popular after the durability patch because she's not just, you know, engage anymore. She can actually have some function and utility afterwards. But with this sort of a start where you're already 3 camps behind, good for him to picking up the scuttle. It does mean that you have to be extra careful with your engages. There are a lot of situations where you just go in, you get evaporated before the Galio even lands.
Yeah. So J-Team definitely off to a good start here by setting Bury behind. I did want to talk a little bit about J-Team and how they had struggled in the previous week we saw them play a full week of League. It's a team that I'm curious to see if they were able to rally, because I don't know if yesterday was necessarily like going to be a good indicator. They played up against Meta Falcon team, and that's kind of an expected win, right? Like, they have a very, very tough schedule. They also played against Duish, obviously. They have a tough schedule today because it's PSG and then CTBC Flying Oyster at the end of the day, and of course they have to play a doubleheader again tomorrow against Impunity and then Megabank Beyond Gaming. I'm curious to see if they've really rallied from everything.
Yeah.
And this game will be that litmus test. Right now, things are looking good.
I will say the games from yesterday, the biggest pressing questions here are definitely, do they have the Sivir comp? Because they missed the debut of 12.13, and yesterday, you know, they went with very standard, I would say, you know, pre-12.13 composition, kind of slow compositions, and they nearly got ran over. So that's the big question for me here. Do you have Sivir? Obviously, J-Team have great counters in the Lucian and Nami. They're probably the best team to utilize those 2 champions. So perhaps they're not so afraid of Sivir because they have a counter. But if they can incorporate it, you know, it's going to be a whole different story.
Oh yeah, and that's going to be a big difference maker come playoffs especially. But for the time being, still in the regular season, looking at things on the map in this game, they're getting themselves little advantages. That Infernal Dragon gets picked up pretty early in the game here. That's 6 minutes, so they're going to be able to start on that Drake stack. And farm-wise, you know, Hanabi is pushing Rock in, but that's a big wave that he's catching right now. Konge hasn't really translated his pressure into a gank on the map, but he's certainly still keeping up pace-to-pace against Bury. Mid lane has been pretty static, and Unified's actually winning down bot, so the gold game is technically in PSG's favor right now. I can't help but feeling like JT aren't as worried about that, though.
I would say they should be, because I just want to say in terms of scaling, J-Team, they don't really have much of a late game with this composition. Kalista, Ahri, probably your 2 champions with the lowest damage. As we see Corey getting caught out.
Hold on. Yeah, he has to use a Spectral Maw to try and get out of there. Hanabi chasing him as well, and now you can see Gory going for a wraparound as long as Kaiwing. The flash is burned on both sides. Looking for the first blood. They're going to get it. There we go. Hanabi with the long chase joined by Bury manages to get that kill, and Konge set behind himself.
Yeah, not a great flash being used right there. Bury great with the Q hold into the range. They also had the Galio to chase up there, so unfortunately for Konge, they're just up at the wrong place at the wrong time. Ooh. Yeah.
Sorry about that. I had myself quiet for a second again. Don't worry, we're back.
We're back. Cool.
But yeah, like Gory's getting ahead. Hanabi's getting ahead. Honestly, this is starting to look pretty good for PSG, despite the fact that J-Team had that early invade strat.
And we're seeing the pieces start to move across the map here as well. We talked about the catch composition coming out from PSG. If someone just gets locked down by the Kaiwing CC chain, they could instantly die to Bury's follow-up here. So I feel like PSG, they weathered the pre-6, and now they're going into actually a pretty strong point onto the map here. J-Team, they do have the first mover's advantage here. Aphelios is going to be late to the party, but I think PSG are going to hit the go button.
Yeah, I think so. Start off on this Herald. Here we go. PSG looking to move in on this one, and Hanabi's actually going to be wrapping around to join the team. Shelly should go both ways. Ooh, Kaiwing instantly flashes. Enzo gets followed through on as he burns his own, and, well, they're just going to look at each other from across the river because J-Team did manage to get away with it. Do they want to actually go for the second win engage? They do. They catch Kaiwing, looking to delete him off the map, but he stays sustaining for a little while. Rock will follow him to the grave, and now here comes Gory on the second win. Lil V gets stunned, but instantly Cleanses out of this one now. Boy turning back and around again. We talked about skirmishes. This is going to be an absolute crazy one as Bury does fall down and Kongye is able to claim his life, but Enzo also drops. It's a 2-for-2 engage extended. J-Team get themselves the Herald.
A very solid win coming in from J-Team here. I felt like Enzo's initial grab onto, the initial charm onto Kaiwing really stopped PSG to engage in their track. And unfortunately for them, I actually felt like J-Team could have had a bigger win, but Rock went in a little bit too fast. You saw a good start off here. Enzo, of course, did have to flash out, but then you saw the turnaround after the objective was taken here. Kaiwing nearly instantly killed in this situation, but at the cost of Rock here. I feel like Rock, unfortunately for him, you know, the flash in for the solo kill, probably not the most worthwhile play here. And on the flip side, because Hanabi was so close to being Mega Gnar, J-Team actually had to run away after getting the first kill. So, all in all, I feel like J-Team with the Herald do get a small win. Could have been a bit better.
Yeah, it's a little back and forth, and we talked about how these skirmishes were going to be a little slippery, right? We saw exactly why just in that fight. Rock now no sums. You do see Bury trying to set up for a gank himself, but he doesn't actually have the cease and desist off cooldown just yet, so not be the best use of his time. Dragon coming up in another 10 seconds. PSG in a much better position to try and set up for it, so they could be cutting into the Drake stack of J-Team, and this game definitely on uncertain ground.
Yeah, I don't think J-Team can really contest at this point. They're using a TP to come back into lane, but I think they're a little bit too late onto this one. 2,500 gold, they're actually going to go in.
Ah, there we go, looking for that catch. Interrupted right there. You can see Lil forces flash back to his team. He takes down Bury. There's no flash here for this fight. And just dodging around the edge of Gory, they turn on him immediately after the fact and look to try and delete the Galio off the map. They do. Spirit Rush Uniboy, he has smelled blood right now as the charm lands. Unify just can't do anything in this one. And woo boy, J-Team, they're on the map. They're claiming everything. They will not let PSG cut into those dragons.
Oh, what an amazing turnaround coming in. I thought J-Team was a little bit too late to the party right there, and we saw Kaiwing with a beautiful start onto Little V, but what really changed was the interrupt from Enzo. As everyone was charging at the Kalista, Enzo was able to knock everyone up with the Death Charge, keep his AD carry alive throughout all of that. You know, let's watch this again as he does manage to get the Death Charge onto Kaiwing. They manage to kill Vi, and then they get the ultimate into the backline. Gory just finds himself left alone here, and Uniboy uses him as a surfboard to reset into the backline. So I've got to say, Enzo has been so damn impressive throughout most of this week, and that's another great demonstration. Ooh, Hanabi.
Yeah, we're going to see more Exec ultimatum now, and Kongye, the Rock blinded up. Kongye looking to set it down, but nice hop and a flash. Let's see if he can get away from this one. He's burning and burning and burning. The hookshot coming through, and they cut him off. Rock will claim the kill on that one. And well, the action just keeps on going, but Clement, all of a sudden, it's a pretty big swing in J-Team's favor, and you said they needed to do it. Well, they've got it now.
They're definitely on the snowballing path already. They have the Drake pressure here with the Drake stack and the Herald and the super strong winning bot lane.
Gory?
Gory?
he just walked up. I mean, he got to tower. Sometimes a straight line is not the fastest way to your destination. Gory is just completely isolated. And even the teleport getting spent by Hanabi, they can dive this again. They're going to do it into the taunt. He's got no Gnar bar. And they're just handshaking him to death.
What was that?
What just happened?
I was looking at that, and I did not think that Gory was going to walk through that path. That was the weirdest decision-making I've ever seen from PSG. Sure, they folded their bot lane and got the mid lane tower, but it's not worth the tower trade plus the 2 kills as we have more action in the bot.
Yeah, look at this
the block!
What a bloodthirsty support. Blocks out on the flash. Oh, my word. You can't say enough good things about this guy on the Nautilus, too. Enzo, in his year playing support, he has become an incredible player.
Can I just say, I feel like Enzo's actually our best support after just 1 year of going to the support role. I mean, the plays on plays.
It's a hot take, but it's not out there. Let's see that again.
Oh, that was so sweet coming in from Enzo. So we have the 2v2 right here. He does get the bush gank here, and watch this. After the flash, blocks the
Stops
Q,
the ball breaker.
knows that the Vi can't hold it in that long, and gets the finish.
My goodness. PSG getting themselves knocked up and all around the map, and the gold lead is about 3,000 and some change. Next dragon spawning in a little bit. We haven't even talked about how it's going to be a Hextech Rift this time around, so a lot more mobility even added for J-Team. Mythic's pretty much completed on everyone at this point. A pair of Divine Sunderers up top side. The Immortal Shield Bow for the Callista down bottom. PSG are going to have to hold out hope they can get to late game here, or maybe get a few miracle catches as they do find Lil V. He cleanses, but the follow is there, and the Goon Squad collapses on him. So they will get shutdown goal. A bounty falls to Gory.
Exactly the three-man setup that we were talking about. Not sure what Callista was trying to do there. His team's taking her Herald in the meantime. Definitely a mistake by Little V. But it doesn't look like PSG can actually answer with a tower take of their own. Navi's coming in with 0 Mega Narbar, and that could be very dangerous for the Ancient Yordle here as we see the wrap towards the tower. Yeah, J-Team actually getting more out of it despite the kill going over to PSG.
Yeah, it just feels like you got to go back to the draft, because the champions that they opted for when there were a lot of other choices available, they just didn't do enough damage. Sure, they can catch people, but these sustained engages, they just don't do enough. So Herald gets dropped in the mid. Kongye does get rooted, but they can't really follow onto him. Losing that inner tower is going to hurt too once Baron starts to be a viable opportunity, but we're still about 16 minutes into this game. And the most criminal thing, I think, is that Uniboy hasn't got a kill.
Oh, true. Yeah.
It's quite a suave agent, though, 007.
We did have a 600 gold bounty going the other way, with Little V falling there as well. So PSG definitely having some comeback moments here. I will say it's a little bit early, but I'm going to be very upset if J-Team win, and then you still don't give the MVP to Enzo, okay? Enzo has been playing out of his mind for the last 2 games. He's had the highlight plays in both. You know, I don't care about the KDAs. That's not fair to supports. So if J-Team win, it's already locked in, okay? Production? You hear me?
You know, it sounds like something. That sounds like something a support player would say.
I do play quite a bit of support. That's definitely
as an AD carry, I'm like, I think I've heard that before. All right, we got the dragon fight. Double teleports expended. Dragon going to be procced out of the pit right now. Unified looking to join up with the rest of the team. Here comes Gory on that TP. J-Team going to back away as they know they don't have the numbers advantage yet.
I would say J-Team actually have very good positioning around this one. Hanabi holding onto his Mega Narbar just right. Yeah. The problem here is,
Heartbreaker expended. That's actually pretty big. But J-Team's still feeling themselves. They're still feeling strong. Keep your eyes on Kaiwing, though. That Solar Flare is going to be the big difference.
Yeah, and they don't see him, so he can just pop over the wall here if he lands the E.
Charging. What a tense Dragon Dance. Charm does land, but the Galio's already out. Had that buffered on the Justice Punch. It's going to be started. I think PSG, here comes Kaiwing. They cleanse out of this one, but they do find a pretty big Nars pinballing the team. And now PSG are on the roll. They get 1, 2, 3, and they are out of there. Kongye forced to flash back to the safety of his tower. PSG going to make a big play to come back into this game.
Yeah, that positioning was just way too good for PSG. They had the Mega Gnar holding in the right condition. They also had the Leona across the wall. I don't think J-Team could have engaged from that angle. Like, that was a little bit too rough for them. They have very short range carries, and PSG had the wombo combo in line. I don't think Little V got a single auto attack off there. That was just beautiful stuff from them. You kind of knew the Kaiwing was coming over the wall, but the rest of the follow-up as well was so damn clean. You have the Gravitum layered up with the Mega Gnar, with the Solar Flare, and also with Gory taunting everyone. So, beautiful wombo combo for PSG.
Yeah, that's honestly what you can do, right? I mean, if you're a team like MFT, take notes. That's how it's supposed to be done. I really like the layering of the crowd control. That was really, really solid execution. It does speak volumes about PSG's coordination, something that we know has been a big point that they've wanted to develop more with their newer players, with their Korean players who have been hard at work studying Mandarin, making sure that they have a little bit more on the up and up. Obviously, Gory already had a bit of a head start, but all the same, it's never going to be 100 to 0, or 0 to 100, I should say. And it seems like all the reps they're putting in are paying off.
Absolutely, you know, PSG, it didn't feel like they had any communication problems at all. If you look at the other Korean imports, especially with Impunity, it's pretty evident that, you know, sometimes the calls are not going the way they're supposed to. Um, and PSG, I just think they're so experienced with their management and their coaching staff that it really didn't show. Like, if you told me Corey and Bori both spoke Mandarin, I would totally believe you.
Yeah, and it also just, I think, it's speaking volumes about the effectiveness of their practice as well. Because clearly these are 5 players that trust each other. From the PSG core, I mean, that much is obvious because we've seen that time and again over the years. But even when they make changes to the roster, bringing in new players, I think this has worked out well for them overall. Not without some issues. They have had a couple of concerns in this game so far. We'll see as an engage starts on 2 fronts here. Kaiwing looking to start onto Uniboy. Enzo and Lil V finding a little bit of damage. Ooh, there's the stopwatch pop by Gory. Moonlight Vigil as well does zone out Lil V and Enzo. And Murray going to be caught quite in the middle of everything, but they spend a lot of tools defensively. Shut down onto Rock does mean that Unified's going to get some serious gold in his pocket, and J-Team are going to take that as a retreat.
Yeah, I feel like J-Team are just kind of running themselves into a brick wall at this point. Their composition can't really take PSG front to back. Gory's incredibly tanky. I love the mythic item choice coming in here. Basically 2 tanky items just to start off. So he can push the direction quite easily. You have Bury going in with the chainsaw build, which is super cost efficient early on, and then Navi Meganar inside the jungle. That seems like a recipe for disaster if I'm on J-Team's side. So I feel like J-Team, you know, the target selection here was a little bit odd. They went for Leona. We haven't seen Rock do anything this game, if I'm being completely honest with you. And I just feel like this
after he's left lane phase, yeah.
I just feel like this is a case of J-Team, you really have to play this more split and try to go for more catches. I don't think your composition should try to look for these front to back fights. PSG are just going to decimate you every time.
Yeah, something has happened, like I feel like subtly in this game over the last maybe 5-6 minutes, especially since that dragon fight. It feels like J-Team all of a sudden lost confidence. They've stopped setting up well. They've stopped finding these really good map plays, and all of a sudden it's kind of a desperate scramble. And PSG, credit to them, they're getting right back in this game, and they're going to knock down some towers at standing gold so they can start to even the gold game out. And it's about 2,000 different, and that's about it. Dragon Soul is going to be a little while now because of PSG picking up that Hex Tech, and now you got to start thinking about the Baron if you're J-Team or PSG. Like, how fast can you shred it? Probably not that fast if you're PSG, but you can win a fight and take it all the same, so J-Team have to be aware.
Yeah, I just think if you're looking at the kill distribution here, it works out so much better for PSG. They actually have all the kills on their damage dealers. You know, 1 going over to Gnar, it's just fine. And PSG have an incredible front line in this one. Gory is going to be out-damaging Uniboy. Aphelios is already out-damaging Little V. So that means you just can't take the 5v5s anymore. J-Team, they need to think of more creative ways to pull people across the map. And I think it is going to revolve around the Camille here. I think Camille split push has to be a big part of this. If they just run themselves again into PSG when they have triple pinks across the river, I don't think it's going to end up well.
No, I don't think so either. You could see Rock was like, I don't have an angle on this. I'm going to take the Hex Gate.
Yeah.
Dragon's live. Here we go. But Uniboy, ooh, he gets caught just for a second. Has to spend a charge of Spirit Rush. And Highwing was looking for an opportunity on that team. Doesn't really find it. Here we go. Charm, gonna dodge. And that's a few more tools expended that they just don't have to work with. Solar Flare going to land into the plans, but it's going to be the start of the fight. Here we go, and that's the cease and desist. Onto Lil V is forced to flash out of the way, as well as cleansing it, so those tools burn. But Bury takes a lot of punishment from Uniboy in the back half of this one. As that Hextech ultimatum comes through, they don't find the kill, but Lil V out of tools. And it's going to mean that PSG have won the right to take this dragon.
J-Team just don't do enough damage. You can see how crazy PSG's engage was. They walk up a ramp, they go through a choke, and they still have Bury alive throughout all of that. This is the problem with J-Team's compositions, that they do have rather short tempo windows. Ari and Kalista, we said in the draft phase, their damage does drop off quite precipitously, and we are getting a taste of that. So I wonder how J-Team are going to try and play this out. I suspect the way that they need to do this is they need actually close to a Flame Horizon on Rock. They need Rock to be able to duel out Hanabi for sure. They already have the 2 items on him. It looks like he's going to be going for GA next, which to me is a little bit worrying because that GA isn't really a split push item. It shows that J-Team are still very much geared for team fighting, and that is cause for concern. Not sure about that read.
Yeah, I think a 4-1 would be a lot better. I mean, it's possible that he just has the stopwatch just for the stopwatch's sake, but it's not very efficient buy, right? So, teleport's available. PSG can always threaten on to the Baron, but of course they just clear the vision away. They're not going to go for it right now. Gory sent down to the side lane to actually deal solo, and I like this adaptation because he's the one that has the TP. He also has an ultimate close to being off cooldown, and Rock knows that he can't really fight into that right now.
Yeah, Rock does. I think he's close to winning the duel at this point, but it's going to take way too long, and the rest of the members are going to rotate in. So, J-Team, I think they heard us. You know, they are sending Camille off and splitting. They know that they can't take the team fights right now, despite still having the gold lead. And I just want to see how they try to play the map, shift PSG across these 2 sides, and maybe try to find picks here and there. They still have a great burst combination in. Coming in with the Viego burst, the CC chain between the Ari there, the reset combo that we see so often from this team. But it's difficult to execute. They need those blind spots, and they need those face checks from PSG.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing, is forcing the issue. And I think PSG, they've gotten into a controlled rhythm. They're feeling pretty happy about what's been going on, despite some early game setbacks. As you mentioned, they have the scaling, and the kills have gone exactly where they needed to. The onus is going to be on J-Team to try and set something up, try and find a bait. I feel like they have to do it around Baron. It's still going to be a little while before the Dragon comes up, and their angles just haven't been that good there. If they can pull PSG into a fight, that might be the difference maker, but they're not doing it.
Yeah, they're still pretty content to farm up the Camille. However, we do have that confirmation it is going to be a straight GA build.
Oh, boy.
I'm not so sure about this one.
They want the 5v5s, Clement. They shouldn't, but they do.
Run into PSG. We'll see. Like, maybe Unify gives them an opportunity in mid lane. If J-Team are going to go with these builds and this idea of how to play it out, then I feel like their only win condition is actually to catch PSG when they're not doing it. That's going to be hard. That's going to be hard.
And PSG, I mean, they're pretty good at grouping up when they need to be. Right now, it's a 1-3-1 split, but just to make sure the waves are clear, J-Team very clearly trying to set themselves up for a better Dragon take because they've given away 2 of these Hex Techs to their opposition. Would like to be able to grab that quickly, but PSG, no. Still about a minute and a half left before that's going to become a reality. Nobody's up topside, which means Gory has free reign to push. And sure, you're getting a lot of good counter jungling, but it's a little late in the game for that, Fongye. So they'll go back and reset.
All right, we'll see if the GA does come out for the Camille. Yes, it does, and how they're going to use this one. With the way teamfights have been going, Rock has been dying first. That is definitely true, but his teammates also follow him to the grave so quickly that I'm not sure the GA actually matters all that much. It really has to be about catch, and if you're thinking about catch, I would have much preferred something like a Death Stance, a better spin push item coming in here. Oh, but J-Team, this is their
They do actually get a catch onto Kaiwing, but he's very tanky here. The teleport going to be spended, and Enzo immediately flashing, looking for the depth charge. Will find Unified, but he's already getting way out of the gap. The charm, they do land, pulling him in, looking for the knock and bop, but that's the stopwatch, and that means that PSG have bought themselves some time. Unified looking for a little bit more of the Moonlight Vigil, but he will finally fall. J-Team looking to finish this one. They take Kaiwing out of the fight. They've lost Enzo already, but still, they have a lot of damage, even into the charm. It doesn't matter, Corey taken so low here, and the timing window, it's not quite there. The shutdown falls, flashing away. Rock looking in the backline, finding Hanabi. The damage not quite there. They look for it. There they go. And it's going to be J-Team with a 4-for-1 trade moving into the base of PSG Talon.
That was an amazing play from Enzo. He flashes forward, cuts the teams off from each other. He sections Unified on the top side of that one, and we have J-Team now rushing to finish. I don't think they can do it. A lot of low HP bars here, and yes, they're going to turn around for the Drake. I think that's a much safer play.
The control, it wins out in the end. They know that the timers aren't that long just yet, but here you go, PSG. They're not going to let them get away with it for free. Kaiwing and Bury are going to try and stop this. It could come up to a 50-50 flip here, but no, with the Callista, they're able to secure it. Uniboy doesn't have, there we go, the Spirit Rush. No, he's going to just back in the pit. He's fine, he's safe. J-Team, they get away with it. Let's see the start of this long chase of a fight.
Yeah, I think it was a bad idea for Kaiwing to go there, and this is the critical play. The TP plus Enzo's flashing cuts Unified off. He flashes away only to get hit down by the charm. Even Galio coming in doesn't save it, and the big difference here is once Viego is able to take down Unified, he takes away all his gold, gets his items, and then turns into a second carry against the tanks that are left on the side of PSG. What a ballsy play, a smart, decisive play coming in from Enzo to make this happen, and even Rock gets to show off here.
Yeah, that was actually really, really nice. I love the flash from Rock, and you could see Kongye knew his mission was to just dive in as deep as possible to make sure no matter where Unified went, he was right up in his face, and it was all the value, being able to take over him after the fact. So J-Team, 30 minutes into this game, on Dragon Soul point for the next time it spawns. Baron, of course, still a very real possibility, and despite the fact that the scaling's not necessarily on their side in terms of damage, they do have a Callista. J-Team could be feeling pretty good about their Baron take.
You know, they essentially have those double smites. They have a very fast Ren stacking here coming in. So PSG right now, it's going to be a little bit hard for them to actually react on multiple points across the map here. And we also have to point out that Unified Summoners are all gone. So J-Team could do what they just did. They have Ahri Summoners up. And I think Unified is put in a very precarious position. Oh, J-Team going in.
They find Bury. What a range on that hook. The Moonlight Vigil does come in as the para teleport's going to get expended. Uniboy looking for a charm, fishing, doesn't find it, but they will force the back away. That is going to be at least a start of the Baron attempt. As Uniboy's still around the side here, you see Bury's going to have to run fast back if they want to get to a smite fight. The charm Uniboy does manage to find onto the Gnar, but the bar's coming up here. Hanabi looking for him. Orb of Deception just buying time. They take the Baron before Bury can get back. J-Team fully in the driver's seat here, Clement. They've got the timing window to work with.
Really smart play from J-Team. I was a little bit suspect of all the ultimates going down on the front line, but the most important thing is they escort the smite back towards PSG's own base. They have 2 smites of their own. They rush it down, and you can tell that PSG, they knew they were kind of beat on that one. There's no one that could actually cross up into the Baron pit. You also had Bury not having the flash there, so the best they could do was just kind of watch.
The GAs, now that the second one's been completed by Kongye, do make a little more sense in context, because it seems that J-Team are very, very fixated on trying to force objective fights, or at least trying to get the objectives, and if they need to fight, they need that little extra recovery. I do think it makes a lot of sense on Kongye, because as long as he kills Unified, his items don't really matter, do they?
No, not at all. So I feel like the first GA from
champion.
Camille, I don't think it was really used at all, but the next couple of GAs basically indicates that they're all inning on the 5v5, and they are going to survive the ult-focused first rotation from PSG. So PSG, what they want to do is they want to rush at you, season assist, they want the Galio ult to go down, Solar Flare, Mega Gnar, everything. It's very crowd control heavy. It's a lot of cooldowns, and they need to kill multiple people with it. With the GA, that basically means those people are going to revive and continue the fight afterwards. I don't think PSG realistically has a chance to win a team fight until the Infinity Edge is up now for Unified. They're basically waiting for that big damage number because the rest of the team can't finish off cover.
Yeah, they're gonna want to be able to get to that 4th item for him and be able to do a little bit more. You do see Gory has been stacking up at least a little more damage. The Void Staff completed, in addition to the Zanya's Hourglass, but he's still, you know, a bit defensively minded in some ways with that Banshees and of course the Crown of the Shattered Queen. But they can do some work. It's just gonna be a matter of getting that angle, getting that fight, that layering a CC. But now they have to go through so many of these GAs to do it, and yeah, it's going to be tough. Like, they win the late game, but J-Team are looking to close this out soon. They'll have Soul if they take this next Dragon.
Yeah, and this is not one that PSG can afford to give up here. The chase potential coming in would be far too great. J-Team know it. They're about to set up the ambush, waiting for PSG to walk in. Nabi is already transforming to Mega Gnar. That is a bit weird. I feel like transforming here gives J-Team way too much room to play with. I think that's a mistake from PSG. I think he should have held on to the Gnar bar rather than do the transformation. Now he's in midi.
Yeah, here's going to be the collapse. Look at Uniboy around the side. PSG, they're
going
sandwiching
in.
themselves right now into the combo and looking for more. Instant flashes, but Unified is going absolutely nowhere, but straight back to the base. Double kill coming in for Unified already off the board, and it's such a great trap. Bait and switch set up by J-Team. The triple kill, looking for a quadra. He gets it.
Ooh,
Give the man his penta, and he will claim it. That's going to be GG. J-Team down the base.
That V behind little v stands for pentakill. All 5 going into the Kalista. Beautiful collapse right there. PSG, they had to face check. They had to deny the Dragon Soul, and J-Team punished them for it. What an amazing draft. Amazing plays from Enzo. Great stuff from J-Team as they get their first win against PSG this split.
Oh boy, I asked the question if J-Team have rallied, and have they ever? What a massive victory and such a stylish way to close things out. Yeah, Lil V feeling pretty good, as is the rest of his team. Man, there might have been a couple of stumbles in the mid-game and a questionable dragon fight, but Clement, this J-Team squad, they're the real deal.
Absolutely. They are so decisive on the engages right there. Again, just tip to production. Enzo for MVP, the most critical play.